Let me ask you something real quick. What if I told you that everything you thought you knew about attracting a woman was wrong? What if the nice guy finished last thing ain't just a saying, it's a warning? Stay with me now, because what I'm about to tell you is gonna make you uncomfortable, but that's how you know it's the truth. Now, I've been doing this a long time. I've talked to thousands of men, thousands of women, and I've seen the pattern. The men who understand what I'm about to share, they don't chase, they don't bid, they don't have to, because they understand something about human nature that most people are too afraid to admit. Here's the problem, fellas. You've been lied to. Society told you, be nice, be sweet, buy her flowers, tell her she's beautiful every day, show her your feelings. And what happened? She got bored. She just wants to be friends. She's not ready for a relationship right now. But 3 weeks later, she's with somebody else. And you sitting there confused, thinking, but I did everything right. No, brother, you did everything safe. And safe is the kiss of death when it comes to attraction. See, most men are out here performing like they auditioning for a role. They bending over backward, explaining themselves, chasing, convincing, and the whole time she's losing interest with every text message, every explanation, every good morning beautiful that she didn't ask for. The game has changed, or maybe it never changed at all. Maybe we just forgotten how it's really played. Now, I'm about to say something that's gonna make some of y'all mad, but I need you to hear this. Not because it's nice, but because it's true. There's an old principle that says it is much safer to be feared than loved. Now hold on, before you start typing in the comments, let me explain what that really means. Because this ain't about being mean, this ain't about being abusive, this ain't about control or manipulation in the toxic way. This is about respect. See, love without respect is just somebody being comfortable with you. And comfortable ain't the same as attracted. Comfortable is what you feel about your couch, your house slippers, your mama's cooking. But respect is different. Respect means she knows deep down in her soul that you are not a man to be played with. Not because you told her, but because you showed her. When I say fear, I'm talking about the fear of loss. The fear of losing something valuable. Because here's the secret that nobody wants to admit. People only truly value what they're afraid to lose. And if she ain't afraid of you, brother, you already lost. Now let me tell you something about boundaries. Most men don't have them. They say they do, but when push comes to shove, when she crosses that line, what do? They forgive too quick. They explain. They negotiate. They try to convince her why she should respect them. Wrong. A real man doesn't explain his boundaries, he enforces them. Quietly, firmly, without drama. She disrespects you, you don't argue, you don't yell, you don't send a paragraph text at 2 a.m. explaining your feelings. You pull back, you go silent, you let that space do the teaching. Because here's what happens. When you chase after disrespect, trying to fix it with words, you're teaching her that your boundaries are negotiable. You're teaching her that she can do whatever she wants and you'll still be there, still explaining, still trying to get her to understand. But when you pull back without explanation, when you let her feel your absence, that's when her brain wakes up. That's when she starts thinking, wait, why isn't he calling? Why isn't he texting? Why isn't he chasing me like he used to? And in that moment right there, the power shifts. She realizes you're not like the other guys. You're not gonna break your own rules just to keep her around. You're not gonna sacrifice your self-respect for her attention. And that is when attraction becomes obsession. Not because you gave her more, but because you were willing to give nothing when your values were crossed. Now, let's talk about something else. Something that's gonna make some of y'all uncomfortable. It's about image. See, there's another principle that says It is not necessary to be good. It is necessary to appear good. Now, before you start clutching your pearls, hear me out. This doesn't mean be fake. This doesn't mean be a liar. What this means is that perception is more powerful than reality. You can be the most loyal, hard-working, honest man in the world, but if you show up with your shoulders slouched, your voice uncertain, your energy anxious, she ain't gonna feel your value. She's gonna feel your insecurity. Because women, now listen to me carefully, women don't fall in love with facts, they fall in love with feelings. They don't analyze your resume and make a logical decision. They respond to your energy. How do you walk into a room? How do you speak when challenged? How do you react when she tests you? And trust me, she will test you. Your image is your first impression, your second impression, and your lasting impression. And most men get this wrong because they think if I'm just myself, she'll see my worth. Nah, baby, that ain't how it works. You gotta frame yourself. You gotta control the narrative, because if you don't control how you're seen, her emotions, her past, her insecurities will define you far. So what does this look like? When you feel unsure, and we all feel unsure sometimes, you stand like a man who is certain. You speak with conviction, even when you're figuring it out, because leadership is about appearing steady when the water's rough. When you feel anger, you don't explode, you don't yell, you control that fire. You speak with measured words that carry weight, because a man who controls himself controls the room. And when you want to chase her, when every bone in your body wants to text her, call her, explain yourself to her, you do nothing. You let her come to you, because in stillness is power, in mystery is attraction. Let her see 80% of who you are. Leave the rest behind your eyes. Let her wonder, let her imagine, because what she creates in her mind about you will be 10 times more powerful than anything you could ever say. Here's something you need to understand about human psychology. We don't chase what we fully understand. We chase what we can't quite grasp. Think about it. The movie you watched once and forgot about, you understood it completely. But the movie that left you with questions, the one with the twist ending or the mystery you couldn't solve, you thought about it for days. That's how attraction works. When you lay all your cards on the table, when you tell her everything you think and feel, when you are always available, always explaining, always there, you become solved. You become predictable, and predictable is boring. But when you hold back, when you're inconsistent, not in a game plan way, but in a way that shows you have a life beyond her, when you don't always respond immediately, don't always explain your moves, don't always give her access to every corner of your mind, you become intriguing. Now I know what some of y'all are thinking. Steve, that sounds like playing games. No, playing games is lying. Playing games is being fake. What I'm talking about is having standards and a life. A man with options doesn't chase. He doesn't have to. A man with purpose doesn't explain his every move. He's busy building something. And here's the psychological truth that nobody wants to say out loud. Women are attracted to men who don't need them. Not men who don't want them. There's a difference. But men who would be just fine if she walked away tomorrow. Why? Because that man has something that most men don't have. He has himself. He's not looking for a woman to complete him. He's already complete. He's looking for a woman to complement him. And when she senses that, when she realizes you're not just another guy who's gonna fold himself into whatever shape she wants, that's when she starts investing. That's when she starts chasing. That's when you become the prize. So here's the moment of truth. The thing that ties all of this together. The men who understand attraction don't play by the rules society taught. They play by the rules of human nature. And human nature is simple. We value what's scarce. We respect what we can't control. We obsess over what we can't fully have. So the question isn't, how do I make her love me? The question is, how do I become the kind of man she's afraid to lose? You do that by having boundaries that aren't for sale. You do that by controlling your image and your energy. You do that by being willing to walk away when you value it and respect it. You do that by creating mystery, by being unpredictable, by having a life that she wants to be part of, but that doesn't revolve around her. That's not manipulation. That's not cruelty. That's just understanding how the game's really played. And once you see it, once you really see it, you can never go back to playing it like an average man.
Look, I ain't saying be heartless. I ain't saying don't love. Love is beautiful when it's with the right person at the right time. But respect comes first. Standards come first. Self-respect comes first. Because without that, love is just dependency. And dependency ain't attracted to nobody.
Now, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, have you been playing the game wrong? Have you been chasing when you should have been silent? And if this opened your eyes, do me a favor. Share this with another man who needs to hear it. Hit that subscribe button, because we got a lot more truth coming your way. I'll see you in the next one. Stay strong, kings.